out of my check versus you taking the money out of my account. So I don't like that about the banks at all.
Yeah, for me, I have a account at an actual bank, which is Fifth Third, and also I have an account at a credit union, Cincinnati Credit Union. Um, but yeah, I think I don't know. I think I'm too young to actually experience the pitfall of what everybody talks about with banks and stuff like that. I did have one experience, a bad experience with the bank, which they told me that because I only have I have a student account, and they told me that as long as I'm in school that I don't have to pay for my monthly fee for the checking. Mm-hmm. And it only lasted until I was 22, and they told me that I can keep it as long as that I showed them that I'm actually it was still in school. And I went there, gave them the paper and whatnot, and the next month they charged me like 50 something bucks plus a late fee for the past month. So it came out to 80 something bucks. It was crazy.
For your checking account?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was crazy.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah. But I got it overturned. So. But I don't know. It's the whole thing with loans with the bank. That's crazy because it's they require so much for you too, and their interest rates is ridiculous too. Yeah, it's so with the credit union, it's much more flexible. They can work with you much more so. I never really had to take out a loan, but I watched my dad take out a loan within a bank and with the credit union. And with the credit union, it was a piece of cake. I think with the bank, I don't know for sure, but I think he was telling me, because I think that's he was trying to explain to me and our brothers about actually going to a credit union, and he was saying at the bank they wanted to charge him a ridiculous interest rate almost in the 30s, but then they also wanted collateral. They wanted to put up something for collateral, which is that for the credit union, it was still kind of high, 10% interest, but they didn't require any collateral.
So there's, as far as the loans and everything, there's a positive and a negative side, And I had my, few experiences with the negative side. And I don't know, I mean, like I said, it's a good thing that they allow people to get loans, but it's how you go about doing it, Like I say, I don't like the fact that you not, have references, and, what it, not saying you're unemployed or this, that, and the third, but what if you're employed but homeless at the same time, trying to get back on your feet and not dealing with maybe no family members or no friends, who can you put down as a reference, So that's the issue itself.
So even the cash advance places have requirements that
Oh, yeah.
if you're in a tight situation,
Yeah,
you have trouble getting assistance.
Yeah, so, it's still required that you have X amount of references, Some require 3, some require 5, some require 7.
Did you need references? Interesting.
Do you know if there's a correlation between the interest rate and the hoops they make you jump through? Would it be a lower interest rate if you don't have to, if you give them references and things like that, if you have to do more work on your end, would it be a better deal for you in the long run? Or
Yeah, I think that's something that would probably go hand in hand. But at the same time, it's you don't really know, even with the reference, even on a job, I don't know, I can't really say that, because even with a job, if you put down a reference, there's no 100% guarantee to actually prove that that person is who that person actually say they is without actually going like a face-to-face interview. So Like, you can say that. Like, to me, like, that's the one thing that I think that's so pointless about, like, doing, like, references. Like, unless you're doing, like, a face-to-face, it's like, anybody can just call anybody and say, like, hey, this person's going to call you at a certain amount of time. Like, just kind of act like you A, B, C, and D. So it's like, I don't know, to me, it's like going through that whole process, to me, is kind of, like, pointless. Like, they should actually, like, make something, like, that, like, I don't want to say better, but, because I can't really think of anything. I can think of some things they can do, but it would be more, like, time-consuming. But, I don't know, I think that there should be, like, a better system to actually, like, check, to actually go in and check to see, like, if that person is actually who they say he is, and if that's the case, then, like, yeah, they should actually make it, like, for more, it's like, all the hoops I have to jump through, like, if I have to go and prove to you that, like, show you, like, bank statements and all that other stuff, like, yeah, like, can I get something, like, knocked down off of that? Like, why do I have to jump through all these hoops, and then I have to, on top of that, I have to pay back, like, almost double the amount? It's like, if I'm going through all these hoops, like, can you knock something off the top? So, yeah, that can be.
So it kind of sounds like you want more hoops and you want less.
Mm-hmm.
Because more hoops, maybe you would have known what was going on more.
Yeah.
It'd be harder to get a loan. You wouldn't have done it necessarily.
Yeah, even that, like, not so, like, I wouldn't have done it, but more so just to know, like, what's going, like,
What's going on, yeah.
like, up front. Like, if they would have told me, like, up front, like, hey, like, instead of you trying to, because I don't really understand, like, because they couldn't, because I was talking to them and I was trying to get them to, like, explain to me, like, why do I need to extend my loan? Like, what's the whole purpose of extending the loan for, like, one more week? Like, what was the purpose of that? Like,
Yeah.
if I'm paying the same amount of money that I'm gonna pay, like, even if you take out, like, a $600 loan, and you have to pay back, like, $150, the loan extension is the same amount of money that you would have to pay to actually pay back, to start paying back the loan. So it's like, to me, it's like, it's kind of like pointless to do, like, a loan extension. So it's like, if they would have told me that in the beginning, because they didn't tell me about that. The only thing they told me about was the loan extension. So it's like, it's kind of like pointless. So to me, it's like, going back to what you said before, it's like, that was one of them kind of things where I felt like I was taken advantage of, in a sense, for not knowing. But if I would have known already, then I could have just, like, instead of, like, no thank you, I don't want the loan extension, just start repaying the loan back. So, yeah, like, I definitely think, like, certain situations, going through more hoops is kind of, can be, like, a problem, but in certain situations, like, the more that you know up front, the better you'll be, like, in the long run. Like, to me, it's like, I wouldn't mind, like, taking an extra couple steps to actually, like, know what I'm getting into versus just me, like, rushing through it, and then, like, on the back end, I was going through all these problems. So it's like, if I would have known that in the beginning, then it's like, all this stuff could have been, like, solved. Like, I paid, like, an extra $300 that I really didn't have to pay. But if I would have known it up front, like, I would have just paid back the $200. So.
And have you ever used a loan extension?
No.
Just pay it all immediately.
Yep.
Gotcha. But
That's how I was taught, borrow and pay.
so you were taught about that?
Well, just as far as, young coming up here, my mom always say, she don't like the fact that I take out a loan, but when I was young coming up, she always mentioned, like, you get older, you borrow money from people, you have to pay it back, so, I was always comfortable, if I borrow money, I'm going to pay it back, so, that was the one comfortable thing I was, always, committed to, so. I'm like I said, I haven't had a loan extension. I've never really had, a problem with paying back a loan. It's just how you pay it back, through certain companies. You have some companies that allow you to pay it back 6 months, 8 months, and you have some companies that will just allow you to pay it back in that following month. Yeah. So,
And did your families talk a lot about money when you were growing up?
Like, my dad is, like, very, like, anti, like, loan places. Like, even when I told him that I was doing that thing, like, he, like, got on me super hard. So, like, he talked about, like, yeah, he did. He talked about more so, like, Because I have two older brothers, and they went through the whole like college thing. One of them, it was kind of like different. One of them had scholarships, the other one really had to pay for college. So I kind of like already knew a little bit about it, but I never really like kind of like stepped in and like asked. But yeah, he tried to teach us at a young age about like money, and then like as far as like banks, we went to like I think we had like 4 or 5 different banks that we like kind of like tried out, and then we finally like settled down into. I want to say that his bank is Cinco, which is I think it's a credit union. And like he would like bring us by, and like we would like meet like the person that he's been working with. He's been working with them for years, so
Yeah.
like we went by and like met them. We set up accounts and stuff like that. And then that person actually like switched over to SimFed, and we all switched our accounts over. Just went to SimFed, so yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions?
So everybody we've talked to, we've been asking them to include some of the questions that they had for like future conversations we might have. And most of those questions have already been answered in this conversation. There was one about people's childhood experiences. There was one about like what people do now to save money. The last one was just a statement that somebody wanted to let the future people that we talk to know that they're not alone in this experience. So like at this stage in our project, we're really just sort of having conversations with people, like a lot of interviews and like basically information gathering.
Yeah.
But there's the possibility that in the future this will turn like away from sort of the research angle and more towards like action.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if you guys have any, like first of all, any questions for future conversations we might have, and then second, like any ideas for actions that could be taken.
I don't really have too many questions, it's like, my main question is, the people that is educated about the interest rates and different things like that. I feel like that should be spoken about a lot more as far as, through different companies. And I feel like, back to the reference part, just because, a person wants to do business with the company, they shouldn't allow you to have friends and family run into your business as well, as far as putting down a reference on a piece of paper. So, I feel like, my question would be, why do we need references? I should be a reference enough, if I'm working, if I'm loyal, if I'm able to pay you back.
How do they know you're loyal though?
I mean, they really don't know if you're loyal, but it's experience in brawling, and it's just experience in trust, so I feel like if I borrow the money from you, and you should go out of your way to trust to see if I'm gonna pay that money back on my own versus you want to take down 3 references to call them and be like, well, this person want a loan. Have they ever took a loan from you and paid it back? I don't understand why they need references, if you're working, because basically to get a loan, you're required a certain amount of information anyways, so I don't like the fact that, you have to give a reference or different certain little things to be able to get a loan, so.
Do you feel like the education on the interest rates, should that be coming from the places that are providing these services?
Exactly. They should be able to tell you, just basically explain the interest rates more versus a person just coming in and, well, I want a loan for $250, well, you have to pay $150 back. Some people are cool with that, just going in and not knowing the reasons versus I want a $250 loan and now you have to pay back the $70. Like, I've never had that kind of experience, but I have, you know, just mentioned it out to my brother, like, yeah, you know, I'm doing a loan, you know, the interest rate is just sky high, you don't have to pay back double. And I was like, well, no, I only have to pay back $35. He was like, well, when I did a loan, they made me pay back $150. And I didn't ask him why, but, you know, I just, you know, was able to understand, like, certain people are getting different interest rates than others. So, you know, that's a question in itself, why, that I can't even explain because I know nothing about.
Do you have any questions or ideas?
Going off like what he said, just about interest rates. Not only to like explain to people like what is a fair interest rate versus like a not fair interest rate, but also like why do some people pay lower interest rates than other?
Right.
Yeah, because if you don't know, then it's like you're gonna think it's a norm.
I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, I don't have no credit. But you know, it's not like my interest rates be sky high on certain loans. But like I said, I did take out a loan somewhere else, and you know, just the requirement of an extra $100, they wanted an extra $254 back versus, you know, a place that you can get a $300 loan and you only have to pay back $80. So, you know, that is a question and an issue within itself at the same time. So, I don't know. Like I said, I'm uneducated as far as the interest rates and how they go and why they go the way they do. So, you know, I don't know. I just go through the door and ask and pay.
Mm-hmm.
So another question that we've been asking everyone is, were you, talking with someone else, what question did we not ask that you would?
I think they just kind of covered that. Okay. Did anybody have any more questions?
I don't know. I just kind of had a thought. Like, I guess when based on all this stuff that we've been doing in this project with different folks that we've talked to and situations that we've learned about, like, I've been thinking a lot about what can be done, but like besides gathering information in this project, and just in general. And I guess I sort of have been thinking about, like, I mean, like there's the information getting out is part of it, like access to straightforward information about interest rates and things like that. But I guess and like another thing I've been thinking about is just sort of community-based, like an alternative to this kind of lending, like community-based lending, I guess. But what you were saying about the references, like that's a real issue. Like there's a privacy thing going on there, and that's why, if I'm understanding correctly, that's why you weren't going to your family, which you used to do.
Exactly.
So I don't know. And like, yeah,
it's a big issue. It's a real deal privacy issue because, if you're trying to handle your business on your own without having to ask any more family members, if I come to your company and ask you, why are you still contacting that family member?
Yeah.
Because you're still opening the door for them to understand, well, I'm taking out a loan. Now I have questions to beat around the bush with, why didn't you just ask me? Well, why did you get a loan? Or what do you need a loan for? So, the privacy itself is an issue with the references.
You said that you wanted to handle your business on your own. Why is that important to you? To be able to handle your business on your own?
Well, because, it's important because everybody needs a shoulder to lean on, but not always. Just because I may need money from you this time doesn't mean I'm gonna always need money from you. And so versus me, basically, like I say, you know, it basically depends on the loan as well, you know. I need $200, you know, and the company helping you out versus you going to a parent or a relative and saying I need $200. I don't have it, you know. So that's another reason why I wanted to just do things on my own, because, you know, if I'm out here handling my business, I would like to handle it the way I would like to, you know, versus people putting other people in your business and everybody is handling your business, you know. So
Right. So if you could, like, imagine a society in which neighbors loan money to each other, or family members loan money to each other without people feeling as if it were invasive, and there wouldn't be like interest rates. So
right.
instead of a corporation loaning money to you, if as a neighbor I said, oh, you need $200, I know you and I trust you, here's $200, pay me back when you can, do you think that would be like a better world, or do you think that would be a world in which people were too much in other people's business?
It would be, I don't know, maybe a little bit of both, because, you know, versus you getting a loan from somebody and they're depending on you to pay them back, versus, you know, I mean, I just feel like, you know, it's I don't know, it's, you know, it's a good thing, but then it's also a bad thing, because you can borrow money from somebody and then don't want to pay them back, versus you borrow money from a company and you have to pay them back. Because if you don't pay this person back that you're getting this money from, then it becomes an issue of maybe you have to go through all these changes for a lawsuit, versus if you don't pay this company back, then, you know, your credit will eventually, you know, become bad. So, you know, it's almost like I don't know, a mental thing, if you want to call it, you know.
Do you think you'd be like more likely to pay a corporation back, or more likely to pay a neighbor who you knew?
Well, it just all depends on the person. Me personally, I'm gonna pay the person or the company back. It's fair. Like, you know, if I borrow $200 from a neighbor and they want back $220, you know, I'm willing to do that, you know, that favor for them, for the simple fact you did a favor for me. You know, so I don't know.
Like, I don't know, I can speak on that a little bit too. Going back with, like, piggybacking off what he said, it just depends on the person and who you're borrowing it from, mainly.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like because in the sense of, like, it's almost like the same thing going back to, like, what I was saying about the references, because like somebody can put on like a face that actually like to actually like seem like they're actually like nice, or they're gonna pay it back like in a certain amount of time, but it's like you don't know, like after you give them that money, like they can go out and do like whatever. Like, perfect example, like my neighbor came to me the other day asking can she borrow like a can opener. Gave her the can opener, and then like the next day, like I see like moving trucks and stuff outside, and she was like gone, and I'm like, okay, like where's my can opener? And like she like got me for a can opener, but I mean like not, but so yeah, it depends on like who the person is. Like I mean, I would love like even when you say like community lending, like that would be nice, but in a sense, it's like you would still have to have like a system set up to like actually like for actually like payback, because I think that when it comes to like family and friends, like a lot of people think that there's like a lot of like room that you have like headroom like within that, to where it's like, okay, like he was saying, like if it was a company, like you feel like pressure to actually like pay them back. But if it's like a friend or family, it's more so like you would think it was more like a understand. Like he will understand if I can't pay him back, like in 2 weeks, like.
Yeah.
And then that would kind of cause problems within that, because it's like if like how far can you go with that? Like how much? Like how many times can you get away with that? Like if I loan him, like if he loaned me some money and I'd be like, oh well, I can't get it back this week. The next week is like, oh, I can't get it back next week. So it's like it would have to be something.
Right. It's because one of the things you guys mentioned was like a dislike of the references. I think that if we lived in a a society where community members were engaged in other community members in an effective way, if you took advantage of one person in the community, your reputation would be tarnished and nobody would then loan you money.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't need to really supply references because you would be known as someone who's not going to pay that money back.
Right.
But it seems like what you're saying is that our society and our communities have crumbled to such an extent that we are dependent on structure and corporations to supply for us something that should be natural to people who care and love each other in a neighborhood.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you're saying that because people don't really trust or people take advantage of each other,
Right.
we're now dependent on a corporation, which now takes advantage of all of us.
Right. Yeah, I think that's what I think that's actually that's a nice thing to bring up because I think that is true. Because it's like I just think that society like today just in general just become like so dependent on like just big I ain't gonna say big corporations, but just like I don't know, it's like I don't think that there's I think that with that like you would have to start like how can I put it? Like I don't think that you can just like start with just the loaning because I think that like the communities have been like I don't want to say like brainwashed, but like now like we don't like there's no like local shops or anything like that in the community anymore. So with that, I think like we could do that, but we would have to like start at a like I don't want to say like a smaller base, but like even like if you like even like if a mom and pop store like do move into a community, like you would see like people there drive go to Walmart or something like that before they would actually like stop at like a small business to like actually like purchase something, even though that it might be a little more going to like a small business, but they don't really understand that like even though you pay more, like you still put money back into the community because like it's I don't know, but yeah, I think that like there's something that we could do something like that, but I think that it would have to like start on a much like smaller base.
I guess what I'm asking is if payday loans are a problem in communities,
Yeah.
is the answer to that problem getting members of the community to trust and support each other more? And if that is the answer, then the focus shouldn't be on the payday loan store, but the focus should be on connecting people in communities to trust and support each other.
Yeah.
And then a natural byproduct of that would be the eradication of payday loan stores,
Yeah.
which is the problem.
Yeah.
So do you think the answer is to connect people in communities so that they support each other emotionally, financially, spiritually, whatever problem you see in the world? Is the answer really just to connect people in communities to support each other?
Yeah, I think so, but I think that would be one of the things, but you would also have to think of how would I actually go about doing that, and that would bring on like another conversation, because like there's things that like there's a lot of stuff that's in actually communities that's in there now that can actually bring people together, but it's just people either don't know about it or people don't care. I think that people like nowadays are like such focus on like doing their own thing that they don't really like stop and take time to actually like come together, because I mean there's a lot of things like I know like in my neighborhood we've had like block parties, community events, we have community meetings like every month, and something like when I was young like we used to always go to and you know, and just hang out and everybody would talk and stuff like that. But now it's like you rarely even hear about it, or, you know, nobody really talks about it anymore. So to me it would be like, you know, like you said, like the step would be like how to bring like the community together in ways that like we can like, that can benefit like everybody, not just benefit like one specific like group or anything like that. But yeah, with the whole like social media thing, I think that it's it's much easier for people to like stay at home or like be at work, and they can still like understand what's going on with other people because of that whole thing. Whereas like if you're on Facebook or you're on Twitter, it's like you don't have to be around people to actually understand what's going on with other people. So it's like